Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Tuesday, the 29th of April. Reading through the Psalms, we read Psalm 41 today, a Psalm of David. And it begins, "Blessed are those who have regard for the weak. The Lord delivers them in times of trouble. The Lord protects and preserves them. They are counted among the blessed in the land. He does not give them over to the desires of their foes. The Lord sustains them on their sickbed and restores them from the bed of illness." And so it continues, the people blessed by God. You have this litany of what that blessing looks like. We're delivered in times of trouble. It protects and preserves us. We're counted among the blessed in the land. Our foes don't get the better of us. When we're sick or ill, God helps us to recover. He sustains us and restores us in our illness. And all of these wonderful pictures of those who are blessed. And what are these people? He says, blessed are those who have regard for the weak. And I believe that we live in a society where people tend to think blessed are the strong. Blessed are those who are self-assertive. Blessed are those who make decisive decisions. Blessed are those who make the running. And I've often heard people say, oh, as you know, the Lord helps those who help themselves. I say, well, I'm not sure that he does, because you don't find that anywhere in Scripture. And instead, we're called to be like Jesus, who had regard for us in our weakness and left heaven and came down to earth to pay the price that we could not pay. And that's the whole Easter story of Jesus taking our place, having regard for the weak. And we were weak and weakened by sin and cut off from God. And Jesus came and sorted the problem out. And we're called to do the same. And I think it's something that Christianity has been known for and ought to be known for. That we are a religion, we are a faith that looks after the weak, that looks after the troubled, that takes note of the marginalized, that will provide for those that struggle to provide for themselves. And it's easy when we think about that in terms of financial poverty, but it's the weak in general, and they're people that are struggling within themselves with identity. They're people that have got breaking relationships and are feeling vulnerable because of that. There are people with illness, and there are all sorts of things. Today we had a funeral service here. There are people grieving and suffering loss. There's all sorts of people that are weak for all sorts of reasons. And as Christians, we're encouraged by God, by the psalmist, and told, blessed are those who have regard for the weak. So we take notice of the people that are struggling, and we get alongside, we support, we encourage, we help where we can. And so that's a challenge to us as Christians, to have regard for the weak, not just the hungry and those that are financially struggling, but for everybody that has any kind of weakness of any description, that we support, encourage, and help them. Be challenged by that, and know that if you're in that position, that Christians are there to support you as well. Be blessed.